Hey everybody, it is Ben, aka the Fuseboxx, coming to you again with yet another Fuseboxx Engaged. I apologize for my lateness. I allowed myself to get sucked up into the wonderful bowels that are twitter.com. Basically, note to anybody out there, if you're looking at any Marvel stands on Twitter, don't ever suggest that Winter Soldier is a better choice for Captain America than Falcon, because they will swarm you like locusts. And so, I would like to introduce fan favorite and always welcome on the stream, good old Eagle Rider.
Hi there, how you doing, Ben?
I'm fucking tired of 2022.
I'm working, so hey.
I'm just really sick of the fact that we can never, every single discourse imaginable it always has to devolve into, sounds like you're kind of racist, man. You don't agree with this? What are you, some kind of racist?
By the same people who are stonewalling and blackballing people speaking out about actual race issues in the world.
Yeah. But if you insult Sam Wilson as captain, which my main argument was that he was totally out of character in that show. He was not Sam Wilson.
How about the fact that he was a groundbreaking black superhero when they didn't have them, and he was his own unique character that didn't need a legacy from somebody else? Why shoehorn him into somebody else's legacy?
And also, it's like, it would have sold better to me if the show had him acting the way he was in the movies. But the show had him acting like a 2020 activist. So that did not sell the Captain America vibe for me. But anyway, I don't know.
It's just amazing to me how stuck these people are on trying to make everything about race.
Well, it's the easiest way to shut down any form of discourse.
Meanwhile, all of us out here in these minority communities sitting there going, please stop trying to treat us like we're infants and can't do anything. Please stop talking down to us. Please stop giving us sloppy seconds and actually care about our own culture and stories, are called racist for defending our own culture.
Well, yeah, because it disagrees with them. So naturally, that must be some secret backdoor long way of promoting white supremacy.
It's called the soft-spoken bigotry of low expectations. And if you research that title, you'll figure out why. There's a historical context, and it comes down to the whole white savior thing. We're going to save people. Look at the shit they did with freaking Larson's post, and if you dare call out the white savior shit she's done in her movie and stuff, then you're somehow racist for calling out her for acting racist. It's like, wait, what?
Well, again, it's all just to, shut, they're right, and you have to accept that they're right.
They're going to be in for a world of annoyance and irritation if they try to make me agree with them.
It was like, I swear, it was like somewhere around like 2010 that all this shit started coming up. Like, I was just blown back at how it seemed like as a society and as a culture, everything was moving in the right direction. Then somewhere along the line, we just decided it's 1969 all over again. And I'm just like, what happened? Like where have these people been?
Actually, I can tell you, I started seeing signs of the woke shit even as far back as my childhood in the 80s. They've just been slowly trying to move the window over enough that they could push it in society without as much blowback.
I mean, that makes sense, but I mean, like, you know, I always saw that kind of stuff in the fringes of New Orleans, and it always felt like those were like the people that were considered racist radicals. Just
Read Rules for Radicals. Everything they're doing, it's Saul Alinsky, it's the original progressive movement of the 1800s. It's the entire goal of the movement. It is to change culture. It's the Overton window. They're doing it intentionally so that what would have been considered radical becomes commonplace.
God damn. I just want people to be good again. I'm tired of not liking people.
And that's the thing. I actually have gotten to the point where I don't let myself hate on the people usually who are saying this shit, because they're literally being taught this stuff from infanthood. They're having this stuff drilled in their heads. They're being pushed and propagandized to every level of the way. And it's hard for me to hate somebody who's literally being brainwashed and abused. And that's what it is.
Yeah. I mean, I get that. Whenever I'm on Twitter, it's like when they all just start bing, 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 one after another. And it's all the same. Like, you know, I give my argument like articulately, and I'm usually not combative. Sometimes I might be a little bit, but like I'll just speak my mind, and it always follows up with some dude who like pushes my buttons by doing the whole, listen, dumbass, it goes like this, okay? And I get, you know, I'm sensing there might be like a racial component to this. And when they start doing that shit, that's when I start getting like, no. I'm not letting you grab the horns of this conversation, motherfucker.
Whereas not letting you twist it. I am so sweet and so subtle. I never get aggressive in conversations.
Well, it's like, you know me. Like, you know that, like, I'm not a very, like, aggressive guy. But it's like, when I'm on Twitter, I get aggressive because people love to do that shit where they, like, try to steer the conversation. And I'm like, no. You're not putting words in my mouth. You're not going to fucking try to frame me as some weirdo Nazi.
See, that doesn't work with me, because I'll just straight up tell them they're a fucking lying, gaslighting douchebag who's pushing it and trying to move goals, you know? And I don't give two fucks what they think.
Good old Cole.
Because that is gaslighting. What they do is you state a specific belief. They literally completely change the words, change the meaning, claim you said something you never said, and then attack you and gaslight you and try to make you feel stupid if you don't agree that you said that.
Exactly.
It's literally gaslighting, and it's actually a form of abuse.
I can agree with that. Yeah, this is Cole, by the way. He's one of my best buddies from in town. He'll watch the streams, but he usually doesn't comment. So, hell yeah.
Hello, I'm here to torture Ben.
Oh, he's watched. I think he knows. But yeah, I did an edited video recently that where I was talking about how they're releasing a prequel to The Lion King, and it's going to be about Mufasa.
And then you look at it and go, who gives a flying fuck? I mean,
well, no, like I started playing games where like that's what I cover in the video. I'm like, I want to do a game where every time we hear about some kind of a remake or some kind of like a sequel,
remake, or a reboot, prequel, sequel, retelling, reimagination, all the different things they call it depending on how they're doing it.
And that's the goal though, is like my game is, let's see what are the modern day tropes they're going to throw in there to try to change the story to fit, you know, what's politically acceptable today. And I guessed that even though it's called Mufasa is going to be a secondary or tertiary character, and Sarabi is going to be like the main protagonist.
I remember. They have to make him inept. They have to make him an asshole.
Yes.
I have to try to subvert expectations, so he's got to be fucking things up somewhere. They've got to race swap every character they can. So what, they're going to have like some trans guy who thinks he's an animal he isn't thing? Like, I mean...
Well, I mean, with The Lion King, there's not that much you have to race swap. I mean, Mufasa was already black.
They will find a way. This is what I'm saying. They'll have like some guy that's like a monkey running around thinking he's a bird or something. I mean, that's how fucking dumb they are. And remember, they cannot express, it's the tokenizing. Everyone you portray as black in your shows and movies has to have a broken family. They have to be broke, or they have to be racially abused or stuff like that. All the natives have to, somehow be this weird conglomeration of about 40 different tribes, and all have fucking Hispanic names that aren't even native, and they all have to have drunks in the family because you can't let go of that stereotype. I mean, there's a way that they treat all of us, and then they get mad at us for not swallowing it down like a good little bitch, right?
Yeah. Well, like everybody's been talking in the media recently about how, it's apparent that the whole race swap thing is just a convenient way it's a convenient shield to use against any criticism.
Yeah, Cole, all the chats have a lag between the chat and what they show us on StreamYard. That's part of the system, unfortunately.
Yeah. And I don't pay for it, so.
He's a cheap fucker. What do you expect? I mean.
But yeah, I think Sarabi is most likely going to be very angry. I think she's going to talk to Mufasa like he's a piece of shit. And he's going to accept it. He's going to be and he's going to tell her how amazing she is. And how strong she is. And how funny she is. Over and over. And she's gonna be very angry because of the male-dominated lion society. And this is a case where they could actually do that, because lion society is very lopsided, gender-wise.
I was gonna say basically all feline societies are. The power that women have in a feline society is that they pick if they're going to accept being a mate to the male or not. And he has to prove himself. That's about the only thing that females have authority of in cat societies.
Yeah. And and I'm sure the whole thing would come up about how female lions, they do most of the hunting. And
can we bring up to all these feminists who get all offended at sexuality and force versus genteel and all that stuff, that in basically every cat species out there, the way for a man to prove himself to the woman to be allowed to mate with her is to literally strong arm her and be able to kick her ass.
Well, no, see, but Mufasa would be the progressive lion. He would be the one who's like, yeah, lion society is unfair. And I totally agree with you. I'm a piece of shit. And hopefully you can help me be a better person. And you are my strength, Sarabi.
Now bend over and take it. I mean, sorry.
And I also came up with my theory of how I think we're gonna find out that the reason Scar's an asshole is because their father showed a lot of favoritism to Mufasa. And Scar will most likely have he'll might be gay, or he might be pansexual or something, and the father will be very intolerant. And that's what caused him to go bad. I'm writing the script for them. Somebody at Disney might be taking notes right now. Yeah. The Woman King, a lovely, heroic movie about a queen who traded slaves. But now she's a hero because she's not white. So
Yeah, the whole movie is glorifying one of the biggest slavery tribes in history.
yeah,
I mean, yeah, and there's no such fucking thing as a woman king. The word literally means male ruler of the monarch.
well, I speaking of Lion
Fucking
King,
deal
I
with
feel
it.
like they literally were just like, hey, let's spoof the title of Lion King and the Woman King. Suganya,
No, it's she's a twat wag. I mean, it's so fucking stupid. Why are they so interested in this? You know, it's so pathetic that they have to change every word to try to not mean what it means. Only on one side, by the way, because every word that means female, that's great. Let's make more words that mean female, because female everything, right? But every word that has male or every word that means male or all that has to be turned into woman. And it's like, the fuck's sakes, we're not the fucking same. Deal with it. We are not biologically, genetically, sexually, emotionally the same. Fucking deal with it.
But, well, yeah, well, I would argue, though, they don't want us to think that we're the same. It's that they're kind of better. And men are kind of worse. And we're the ones who, you know, we're the reason humanity is fucked up as a whole. And
Yeah,
if we weren't around, the world would just be such a better place.
You know what my overall opinion of that shit is?
Are you in favor of it? Are you?
Fuck no.
Oh, Lottie. Yeah. Oh, I knew that. Like before it was coming out, I was saying to myself, like, are they gonna surprise me and be honest? But I knew that the odds of that were so slim.
These are the same fucking people who decided to try to make it Queen of England black.
That's true.
Honest? They wouldn't know honest if it bit them in the fucking ass and bitch slapped them with a dildo.
Well, see, it's artistic when you race swap that way. When you race swap the other way, it's erasure.
No, it's erasing history and racist no matter how you fucking do it.
It's like, here's my thing. I wouldn't care about race swapping stuff if, like, it was all treated equally.
If it comes to historical characters and mythology, I still do.
Well, it's like, to me, it's like, just pick a lane, you know? Don't frickin' try to play both sides of this, where it's like, okay, it's insulting when it's done one way, and it's totally fine when it's done the other way. It's like, pick one. Like, don't quit trying to have it two ways. Lordy. Yeah. Oh, revenge. But yeah. So I was gonna stick on the Lion King topic longer, but we don't have enough people, because I was hoping to get people, like, everybody doing their predictions of, like, what tropes would be in the new Lion King. But, like, of course, tonight, like, everybody is streaming tonight.
Well, I'm going to be hosting a show every Friday over on Pop's channel for Madness Comics, so it's going to be an art stream.
Well, lordy.
And I start that tomorrow night.
Well, we need more people in here. Where are the people at?
Where are my bitches at? I mean, where are the white women at? I mean, what the fuck?
Where the hell has Lola been?
I could say something really messed up and pervy as a response to that question, but I'll be nice to her and say it when she's here. I tease Lola a lot.
I mean,
it's not just you. Sorry. I mean, I tease everybody for Fuck's sakes.
I mean, I know. I just I wish she'd come by more often.
Mm-hmm.
I think she's doing a Lola after midnight later.
This is the big reason I've been off camera today, because I kind of rock weird right now. To explain, I'm kind of in the back of my writing nook, obviously, because I'm not my main computer system, because I'm still getting a lot of things fixed there. Because of the physical therapy on my leg, I'm doing, 20 to 30,000 reps a day on the elliptical under the table while I'm working. So it kind of makes me jiggle while I'm sitting here working.
Why does everybody have to stream when I'm streaming?
Because you're a little bitch. I mean,
do they all get together and say, when is Ben streaming?
Let's fuck that shit up. I mean,
exactly. It's like they're like, let's plan our streams simultaneously. I know Michael Beacon is streaming. I know they did the high stream with Belmont earlier. Jesus. Oh my God, my effing notifications are out of control. Good God. Fucking commie Mark.
What?
He's so damn elusive. I keep trying to get him in here and he refuses. He pops up every once in a moon in the group chat, and then he goes back into hiding.
Do you see what I'm doing right now?
Yes.
Not that there's very much in here, right?
I mean, that's a good amount.
This is a drop in the bucket to what I have to do. Okay, so basically, I've been writing short stories, poems, songs, and stuff since around the age of 10, 11. And everything I haven't, sold under pen names I no longer have ownership of. I have the right to sell and promote and use as I see fit because it's my work.
Yeah.
If you sell pen names, often they want you to sell ownership and credits to whatever's been made under that pen name with it. That's something I learned, unfortunately, when I was avoiding my ex. So there's stuff I can't publicly share, and say is mine legally, even though I wrote it. So, I mean, it's weird. But all the stuff that I have that I've done that I am. So I'm going through these bins, these websites, and all this stuff. Basically, what applies to being almost 30 years of writing projects that I've collected everywhere. And I'm organizing and sorting and getting them by year and getting them tagged and figuring out what things are which and cleaning them up, writing them out, doing rewrites and retellings of some of them because my writing style's obviously changed a lot and all this stuff. So it's kind of a massive undertaking to clean up decades of work. So yeah, it's an interesting event. But I started doing that a couple weeks ago, and I've got 3 notebooks full already. I've got 4 different notebooks I'm rotating between depending on what I'm fixing and copying over and dealing with and writing. And I'm filling them quickly.
Oh, hell yeah.
It's a lot of work.
Do it.
It's a lot of work.
Did you read any of Element Blade?
I tried to. I was having trouble seeing it on that screen. I tried, and I hate your handwriting. I'm sorry.
Well, I'm gonna transfer it to the computer when I'm not lazy.
See, the problem I had is that these websites that will let you publish and share things and promote things come and go so much
Yeah.
that they're not dependable storage for anything. And so I've had to like last minute save things as websites are going in and out of popularity, and had all these broken files, these things that they're missing information, or they never actually got filled out on hard copy either, and stuff like that. So I'm doing like printings of this stuff. I'm filling it all out into hard ledger books like this that'll last for a long time. And then I'm uploading it to websites and stuff, so I have the cloud storage backup as well. That way I have more backups on both ends.
Makes sense.
I did, after going through so many fucking websites and apps, it's not even funny. I did actually find a place that allows me to post uncensored poetry and stuff. You know, it's ridiculous. You go to all these websites, they're supposed to be for poets and artists, and they're all like ultra restrictive, like censorship up the wazoo kind of shit, where 90% of history's poets would never be published there because they'd be offensive. And I've literally found ones that were supposedly these just benign publishing companies doing a web page for poetry, and they didn't just have no obscenity rules, they had no blasphemy rules.
Really? That's
Yeah, and these weren't even
peculiar.
religious. These weren't even religious sites. They're saying you can't blaspheme any religion. Any religion.
So it's not Twitter.
No, I mean this was insane. Like, and I keep thinking about it, and literally the English language came from creating a poetic language, because there was an artist language being based in Latin. That's what it was at the roots when it started. This entire language exists because we wanted more flowery speech, and we wanted a way to be artistic in how we wrote things. The very idea of short stories and poetry and that stuff has always been to be a release, to deal with the deepest, darkest, and brightest, and most intense emotions that humanity deals with. It is the common refuge of those who have been through trauma, victims, survivors, and stuff like that. Having fucking censored websites for poetry is like having a heavy metal radio station ban drums and guitars.
Yeah. That is bizarre.
It's fucking weird, and they're all that way. Look, it took over 60 apps before I found one that would allow anything like that. Over 60 I had to go through. And I finally found one, and you go down, start going through the terms on it, and it says, if you go to this site, you will be exposed to, it starts listing all the things all the other sites called offensive and said you'd be banned for. This is why you can't be on this site if you're under 18. And that's what the rules say on that site. I'm like, hey, I found the one for me. It's not, don't say this stuff because you'll offend people. It's, you will be exposed to it. Don't be a minor on our website. It's like,
God.
Fucking hell, about time, right?
Like, I remembered growing up, like the more progressive thinkers were the ones who were like, less censorship. And now it's completely flip-flop.
Well, the SJWs, you got to remember, progressive was always about embedding yourself in both sides. It was never for open stuff. And the traditional liberal conservative, they're not even what the conservative and liberals have been even in our lifetime. The progressives have embedded themselves on both sides, and what they're doing is kabuki back and forth and switching who's pushing controls. That's what they're doing. And yes, that's a political opinion, but it's one with a lot of study and information behind why I say it. That said, the SJWs now are the satanic panic of the 80s. Let's just be fucking
definitely.
clear.
Most
they are
definitely.
everything is evil. Everything is gonna kill you. You're the face of evil if you dare say or do this or follow this or read this. And it's like, no, how about this? Fuck you. These are the same people. By these rules, most of what I write would be banned because most of what I write is based on what was done to me and the victims that I've helped take care of over the decades. People's voices and stories that need to be heard, things that real human experience, are banned under these rules. let's talk about people who would never be allowed to publish under these rules. Well, Shakespeare's out because even his romantic stuff is either smutty or depressing. Um, let's be honest. Um, you obviously can't have Oscar Wilde talking about his gay sex stuff because that's sexual content that's obscene, because that's the sexual content banned on these. You obviously can't have Maya Angelou because most of her stuff was about growing up beat in the ghetto and being raped as a child and stuff.
Yeah.
So, I mean, let's just go through a list and it's gone. They're gone, one at a time. All the voices that made a difference in culture and art and history and political science and all that would be gone if you had these rules then.
Yeah. I mean, a lot of this stuff reminds me of the Hays Code from old Hollywood, where every moral code was so ridiculously specific. It was hard to make any type of like movie with substance.
You know, one of the Halloween movies I watch every year is Arsenic and Old Lace. This is a mid-40s movie from Cary Grant. It takes place on Halloween. And it's kind of spoof humor combined with horror. And it starts out, you know, where this absolutely not just confirmed bachelor, but the guy writing the Bachelor Bibles and basically what would be the forefront of what became MGTOW later gets caught by the media when he's at the courthouse eloping with the girl he fell in love with. That's where it starts, the story. And then he goes back to tell his family about it, and within the events that take place throughout the movie, you find out that his aunts that raised him, his brother, and all these other people are serial killers.
I'm getting too old.
And at the end of the movie, there's this whole movie where he's screaming in excitement. And I won't give you the reason he was screaming because that gives away a major secret plot point to it. But I will tell you at one point, they had to change an entire line in the movie because in the play version they based it on, he screams, "I'm a bastard." And that wasn't allowed. That was one of those banned words then.
Oh, yeah. I remember Gone with the Wind got in trouble just for the "frankly, my dear, I don't give a damn."
And so, yeah, he couldn't say that. So they had to come up with this whole, "I'm a son of a blah, 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 blah," and just, you know, PC'd up as basically as you could. And it's like, oh, for fuck's sakes. But the thing is, it didn't actually start that way either. Hollywood got that way. If you look at early Hollywood, like when they were first doing silent movies through about the late 30s stuff and era, and even through some of the stuff in the 40s and 50s, they got worse in cycle for censorship. When I Love Lucy started, they had them in the same bed together. They had them showing on TV, kissing and hugging and all that stuff. No problem. She wore pants in some of the episodes, no problem. And yet by the time Dick Van Dyke came out in the 60s, you know, 7-8 years later or so, that was unheard of on TV for anyone. And partway through Lucy's show, you could see they actually split it, and all of a sudden they were in separate beds. Because the censorship laws changed. Because the censorship laws changed, and they started getting in trouble for doing what they were already always doing. And that's the other thing that gets me so much is them saying that the whole, you know, Uhura and Kirk was the first interracial kiss. No. Actually, even if you research heavily, it's not even technically the first black and white kiss. But you had Lucy and Ricky making out on their show all the time. You had a Celtic woman making out with a Hispanic man on TV all the time in the 50s. It wasn't the first interracial kiss. I mean,
yeah, but I don't think they were making out. I thought they were just kissing.
Well, I mean, that's the thing is I'm getting at those. They were kissing all the time. This was not some big thing. And yeah, no, if they wanted to say, and I'm a big Star Trek fan, and yeah, he was pushing the boundaries because it was during the civil rights, and people were a lot more intense about the differences and keeping people apart in the mid 60s than they were even in the mid 50s because of the civil rights era, because both sides were at each other's throats.
Yeah.
And so I'm not going to diminish what he was doing in that, but it wasn't the first. And to me, it seems disrespectful because the reason Star Trek happened, the one who pushed it to get them in production was Lucy. It was her company that produced it.
I remember that now.
It was Desilu Studios that did it, and she was the one that actually pushed them to do it. Yeah.
Makes sense.
So this is the woman who was the reason that you had that in the first place, and now you're pretending that what she did in her show never existed. That to me seems almost kind of disrespectful to her, you know?
I mean, yeah.
So that's one of the ones I find interesting, but I always liked Lucy, though. And she's one of the ones they tried to take her out with the whole, McCarthy era stuff and things like that. And the thing is, in that time, you were not registering yourself to your political party when you registered to vote as an adult. Your parents could pre-register you to a party when you were 16. Her parents registered her to be a communist. She changed it as soon as she registered, right before she turned 19. And they still tried to basically blackball her for it.
Oh, communists.
And she wasn't even a part of it. This is like trying to blackball somebody for growing up in a cult church or something when they didn't do anything wrong, She didn't do it, but they tried to blackball her for it. And this is the thing, is the crazy on both sides.
Yeah.
I think they made fun of the McCarthy shit really well in the Clue movie myself. With all the cracks about communism was a red herring and find out how crooked everybody who worked in Washington was and all that. And their comments on the UN.
You remember the 90s? Remember the early 2000s? Remember how much better it was? It's depressing.
Socially and politically, I would say it was a bit better. I would say there were still issues then because I was the one who was pissed as hell in the 90s because I hated the whole girl power movement completely. And I saw the third wave of shit starting in my peers then.
I saw a little bit of it, but I felt like it was more innocent back then in my opinion.
It wasn't that innocent if you were one of the girls in the groups doing it. If you heard the stuff these girls were saying, even it's like 10, 11, 12 years old, when it was just the other girls around, it was not innocent.
Oh, Lordy.
That's where it came from. The feminist movement we have now came out of that girl power shit. And the thing is, I've never been a fan of saying power to any group because it's not an equal application. We have a friend here in town, and I have never hidden the fact that I've been to drag shows and gay bars and stuff because I've gone with him for things he wanted to go do. No, I don't care.
I've been to those too. I'm from New Orleans.
Yeah, but
it's kind of
but you're not on the board of a church either. So let's
I'm a Catholic. I mean,
you don't want that rant, but anyway. But there's a difference between you are a member of blah blah church versus you're on the board of a church. So there's that. But so I mean, he's the one that I've seen all this stuff with because I don't care. He's a friend. We'll go do whatever with him. No big deal, right? No big deal, even though he kind of hit on both me and Steve. But he actually he got this mass spam for months of death threats and shit because he refused to be a part of the pride parades because as he said, my straight friends can't do it also.
Oh, Lord.
And he's a liberal Democrat, but he's one of those that's rational liberal. and wants to actually to see people treated equally. You know?
Yeah.
And yeah, he got threats for saying that it's not an equal application for one group to be able to celebrate who they are and one group not to be able to.
Well, I mean, like, Decadence Festival down here, pretty much everybody can do that.
Because let's be honest, you know what would happen if anybody tried to have a parade to celebrate being straight.
Oh, yeah.
Especially if they did half the shit that happens at a lot of these gay pride parades where they're running around half naked shaking their junk at people. Which is not uncommon. I've seen it.
I mean, the second somebody would do like a straight pride anything, it would be immediately be, oh, we got some neo-Nazis out in the public.
And that's the thing is everybody. I don't care what color you are. I don't care what religion, what culture, what part of the world, what race, nothing. I don't give a shit what you are, where you come from, what your sexuality. You should have as much right as anyone else to be proud of who you are, to be proud of your heritage, and to talk about it and brag about it any way you see fucking fit.
Yeah.
And this is where me and him agree, my friend in town here. And that's the thing. He says he's uncomfortable with the fact that there's so many in, as he says, my community dealing with the gay bars and stuff like that. He doesn't like what he calls the anti-straight bigotry that he sees among them, and how many he sees in that community try to basically blackball, kick out, or avoid anybody who's not a liberal who's in that community, like people like David Hyde Pierce, who are obviously that, but are more moderate or conservative, you know?
Yeah.
He doesn't like it. He can't stand it. He doesn't think anybody should be shut down for being who they are.
I mean, I would agree with that. I mean, anything else would be hypocritical.
And it is interesting over all the craziness last 8 years. Mr. Liberal Boy that was always so squeamish around me, I actually helped him get a gun a few years ago.
I mean, it's funny, like, you know, I'm a guy who, like, I believe in gun rights, but I would never have a gun myself.
I helped him get the gun when he was getting the threats, because I wasn't going to leave him defenseless with that shit.
Makes sense.
And I have weapons. I'm one of those who I won't be unarmed because of what I've been through, and because I know with my medical conditions, I can't depend on being able to fight back if certain things happen.
I mean, that makes sense. I just can't bring myself to you know, shoot anybody. And if they want to kill me for what little money I have, the joke's on them. I mean,
see, I was that person until I went through the accident, until I went through being robbed and beaten and stuff. I'm not anymore. If somebody's going to try to threaten my life, I'll shoot them fucking between the eyes like I do the deer I hunt. But disclaimer for the channel here: there's no promoting violence here. Anything that I ever do in my life is straight only if I have to defend myself. I have never in my life struck first, hit anybody, or attacked anybody. Every time I've ever had any physical altercation, it's been self-defense only. I don't believe in violence unless it's a last resort.
I got in really embarrassing fights when I was in like elementary school.
That said, I think so far, at least to all the people I've talked to in Fandom Menace and CG, I have the record for being the youngest age when getting into an actual true physical altercation. The first time I literally beat down a bully that was trying to attack my siblings, I was 2.
Jesus. I mean, that explains a lot.
This was a little shithead kid, and he would chase my siblings around with whatever implement he could find to try to beat them with. He's probably between my older brothers in age. And apparently, Mom said her description of it is, baby got fed up. She's heading out there to try to stop it and get this kid away from her older kids. And all of a sudden, she watches the youngest one stand up over where she's playing in the dirt, walk right over to the kid, and stick her tongue out at him. As he swung back, because he was chasing them with a lead pipe at the time this happened. Literally. When he swung backwards to try to swing it at me, I knocked him down with his momentum of the swing and then started kicking him on the ground.
Makes sense.
Mom said all she could think is he's going to kill my baby, followed by, holy crap.
Jesus.
So yeah, I'm not docile. I don't take it. And I went through that phase, and God, fuck that phase. I mean, that is never going to happen again. It's just not.
Lord Almighty.
And you know enough about me to know, I went through a phase where I truly took it from everyone without defending myself.
Yeah.
But I'm not doing that again. And I'm not going to be defenseless because too many times, especially with the things that I do in the inner city, and I'm constantly with or interacting with or helping with sexual assault, abuse, and so forth, victims, both genders, dealing with disabled kids and people who've been threatened, harassed, and stuff. I'm not going to be disarmed when I'm helping with that. No.
Makes sense.
I'll be honest. I remember going to do my loop to meet a bunch of the people in Fandom Menace back then that I did in my trip. I remember laughing about it after because I was sitting there talking to all these guys, and they're sitting there talking at the edge of my car, and I'm going, God, it just dawns on me that I'm sitting there laughing with these guys. And I don't think it dawned on either of them in a heartbeat that under my seat, about a few inches from my hand, was a hatchet, a machete, and a pistol. It's like it dawned on me after I left, and I'm like, oh crap.
I'm pretty sure like Fandom Menace isn't really a thing anymore, is it?
No, it kind of got stuck in their own drama, basically, which a lot of CG is trying to do at this point right now. And we need to not let it happen. What literally happened is what I'm seeing happen in their own community now. It's they got bigger and bigger channels and voices, and then they started fighting with each other because their egos got padded too much, and then it self-destructed.
Oh, well, that's been happening in CG.
Yeah. That's basically the epitome of why Fandom Menace went down pretty hard. It self-imploded from egos.
That was all that crazy shit that happened with the frickin' war campaign and the Edwin Boyette, Mike S. Miller thing, and now I'm seeing some shit going down that I'm not gonna specify, but I think you kind of know what I'm talking about.
Put it in private chat. I miss a lot because I'm usually working on stuff, so I don't keep up with a lot of the drama. All I know is the fuck if people want to tell me who to be friends with or get along with. If you're going to try to control me, you can go fuck all the way off with that shit. You know?
Yeah.
Hell, I've had you tag me on things and you tag me on the thing with people I've blocked. And I'm not going to sit there and go, I don't like that person, and bitch at you on the publicly and stuff. I'm just going to sit there and go, well, I hope they don't show up. I mean,
I honestly didn't. I don't know who's blocking who.
Oh, that's kind of a long story out of that what I just said. Yeah, yeah, I know quite a bit about that stuff. Yeah.
Yeah. It's all so crazy. I try to stay out of the inter-conflict. I mainly get into conflict with people who are so obsessed with Falcon and the Winter Soldier and think that Sam Wilson is just beyond, Call of Duty. Oh. Oh, yeah. Okay. Well, I don't think you have to worry about that.
Yeah, it's like, so I'm one of those, I don't tell other people who to be friends with. There's some people who really pulled some horrific shit on me, and I don't tell other people not to be friends with them. I'm just not going to have anything to do with it, and I will question their morality if they're okay with the shit those people have pulled,
Yeah.
And that comes down to, I've literally had people sit there and do EFAPs making fun of my spasms and tics and claiming I'm faking my medical conditions
Fucking
on
hell.
video.
There's a level of desperation with, like, and I was talking earlier, I was on a stream with EB, Earth's Best, I forget his full moniker. But we were talking about how, like, the biggest issue right now is that everybody's putting out a comic, everybody's doing a YouTube, so now everybody is scrapping over views. And it's like people are willing to do whatever it takes. Even if it means, just like totally lowbrow, below the belt drama farming.
Well, and that's the thing. And the thing is, that one, it's several times I've had people do that, doing videos mocking my medical issues. I've had people record clips of me backstage having medical duress and send it out to people making fun of it. And I've had people take things out of context with my spasms and tics and then try to convince people I was doing things I wasn't, because I spasmed, I ticked, I missed words, and they could be misunderstood, and they tried to use it. Literally. And the last one of these happened a few weeks ago, about a month and a half ago, I think now. And I didn't even know it was freaking happening until I picked up my phone and it was blown up with a bunch of friends sending me messages that they were going ballistic on this woman for doing it. And it's like, oh, shit.
Jesus.
And they're sending me the link. They're bitching out about how pissed they are that she's doing it, all this stuff. And I'm sitting there going, oh, God. I don't, just ignore her, please. Like, because it is those who know me. It's not that easy to fake medical conditions and mental conditions. If I was truly faking issues, I would not consistently have them occur for 3+ years of streaming. I would not tell people the same events and the same stories on multiple channels when I clearly don't have that good of memory on some things, because I've had that memory issues flare up on stream. A good liar needs a good memory. I don't got that kind of memory. And I am way too fucking autistic to be that creative in lying,
And it seems just, like this whole thing about people faking illnesses or whatever, it's like, I think that's kind of a rare thing.
It's nowhere near as common as people think it is. Now, are there a lot of people who are diagnosed with conditions they don't really have because psychologists and doctors are just looking for quick answers and aren't really doing the research and the work? I do believe that's a very common issue. But again, that's not the person faking an issue, even if that is what happened. There was a study a while back, and it actually showed they went to people in multiple states and cities and schools, and they tested kids for the brainwave behaviors for ADHD who were on the meds for it. They tested because there's a brainwave pattern that goes to it. There's a reaction to specific stimulants that's always there, including the fact that caffeine will soothe your body and try to make you sleepy because your brain's reacting differently. That's part of what the condition is. And they went to all these kids and they tested to see if they actually had the medical symptoms or if they were just hyper happy kids, basically. And it was about 95% of the kids tested did not actually have the brainwave condition. because schools were just, they're hyperactive, they're ADHD, give them the meds without doing any further research if they were a hard to handle kid.
Oh yeah, there was a lot of ADD misdiagnosing when I was a kid.
Yeah, that got common misdiagnosing that when we were kids, and it's still really prevalent. But again, that doesn't mean that those kids are trying to fake a medical condition if they say they have it, because they've been told they have it, they've been treated like they have it, and they've been medicated like they have it. They don't know better.
Oh yeah. Oh God.
And so this is one of the things people got to. But I agree with my friend over in Kansas City, because he had people go to him and try basically convince him that, I don't think she's being honest about this. You really think she has these conditions and all this stuff? When I started hanging out with him, as he said, it is, if I assume you're faking and you're not, that's on me. I'm the asshole. If I assume you're telling the truth and you're faking, that's on you. You're the asshole. I'd rather not be the asshole.
Yeah. Better to err on the side of caution.
Mm-hmm. And it goes to the same reason with the racial stuff. All of us who are pale and mixed or have albino issues or skin conditions or medical issues like that, we take more shit partly because of people like Dolenzal and Sean King and Warren and them. Because while the fakes aren't common, they're so fucking egregious, it makes people question it. And there is a high number of people who fake being Native.
Oh
There
yeah,
is.
I know that.
And it drives me crazy, because it's hard enough when you have these issues because you don't fit in either side. I don't fit with white society. I don't fit fully with my own because I don't look like it to a lot of people, you know? And because honestly, in minority communities, there is a bigotry against those who are considered too pale or not dark enough or not minority enough and stuff like that. It's less common of a bigotry in Native community than it is in Black community right now, but it is happening in both, you know?
Yeah.
And my goddaughter is half Black, half Celtic. And some of the shit I've seen people say and act like towards her in the inner city, oh my God, I could have knocked people out so easily. Literally the things that when people talk in society, and people in white society use phrases like mocha and stuff referring to race, they do realize that mocha was a slur, right? It's a slur from those who consider themselves pure Blacks against those who are mixed race. Yeah. And I didn't know how prevalent some of this stuff was until I started having that life, being on the board of the Black church, being involved with so many Black kids and all this, and seeing firsthand how it's happened and dealt with in multiple states. And it's tragic because these kids bear the bigotries on both sides.
Yeah.
And it's not okay. It's never okay to be a bigot to somebody. And I don't care who you are. If you're being a bigot, you're trash, you know?
Yeah.
And then if you comment on that, the first thing they do is, well, you hate Black people. It's like, no. Otherwise, why would I be sitting here defending my goddaughter? Think, hello, right?
Well, you know.
If I hate Black people, I wouldn't be on the board of a Black church.
Well, you got to remember, you know, they're going to tell you what you think because they need you to think that, because then that way they're justified in not talking to you or not having discourse. Good times.
Oh, yeah. It's a lovely, lovely situation.
You need to find out what happened to Lola. She disappeared. I know she's been dealing with all kinds of crap from the Amber Heard stands. You remember when like it was fun to look forward to movies? I remember that.
I mean, I guess it says something about how much I avoid all the modern movies. The only thing I've seen that's actually been made in the last like several years was the new Minions.
I haven't watched any of that.
Because I'd rather laugh at a kids movie than deal with half of the shit they're putting in everything else at this point. And while I may not necessarily like all of the humor in it, at least they have the fucking sense not to be PC.
Not yet.
Shut up. Don't try to jinx it.
We're not there yet. Remember, Marvel used to be, the movies of Marvel used to be very fun and story driven. And then just one phase down the line, and they flushed it all down the toilet. But I think the thing that's like, I would say what's more annoying than the wokeism in the new Marvel stuff is how they're completely just like breaking their own canon over and over and establishing new rules and then breaking those rules within the same movie. And all that, it's like nothing matters in the world building anymore. Nothing. It's just there to like be a temporary plot convenience or a temporary roadblock, and it's immediately forgotten about.
It is kind of that way with most things anymore. We just don't have society doesn't have the heart anymore.
God, this is getting depressing.
Yeah, what the fuck is wrong with you? You've dragged me into this mood tonight.
Well, I was in a better mood earlier, but then like I got swarmed on Twitter and they're still going. It's incredible. I never thought, like, of all the things for me to get like swarmed about on Twitter, Falcon and the fucking Winter Soldier. Like they are livid and they're projecting it onto me. Like they're claiming that I'm being just so horrible and indignant because I disagree with their ridiculous points. Oh, they're telling me I'm arrogant too, which I'll admit. When I'm on Twitter, I tend to be kind of arrogant, but
Kinda.
I do it because everybody else is being just as arrogant, and you gotta hold your own.
I am not that arrogant, you fucking fucker.
Yeah, it's like when I first joined Twitter, I was totally nice and I tried to be like really amenable.
Okay,
You know,
I want
like
to see some of this bitching at you.
Oh, they're going crazy.
Where is this thread?
Oh, somebody. It was somebody who did a snapshot of a tweet that Anna, that Star Wars girl, did, and they were trying to imply that she was like this evil bigot. And so I got annoyed. So I had to open my mouth. But I remember. Yeah, no, it was because like somebody. It was she was saying that Steve Rogers was Captain America and not Sam Wilson. And I basically said something that like somebody was saying like, well, you know, that's just patently false or whatever, and I just put, no, it's a true statement. You know, Steve Rogers is Captain America, and they just oof. That set them off. What do you know? They're trying to argue that I was being illogical or whatever, and it was like, yeah, like I was, you know, it's obvious I was saying it to be kind of a butt, but it was kind of a mild statement. But it was just it was worthy to bring hellfire. And I think it's a lot of that residual crap coming down from all this ridiculous quote controversy surrounding the new Little Mermaid movie.
Mm-hmm.
And the new Little Mermaid movie thing, it's like, it's not even really worth taking an impassioned stance one way or the other, because it's just another soulless cash grab. Is anybody going to remember the Little Mermaid movie in like 2 years? I doubt it. I could be wrong, but I doubt it. I think people barely remember the Lion King remake.
Oh, I'm gonna have a little fun with this one. It's basically saying that Bucky shouldn't have it with PTSD. This from the group that always calls everyone ableist, right?
Oh yeah, they were trying to frame it as though Bucky is like a villain, and I was trying to tell him, yeah, he was enslaved, he was mentally shackled. So wouldn't it be kind of poetic to have an emancipated slave become the new symbol of freedom? But no. No, he's a Sam Wilson. He's an all-American. He's wonderful. How dare you? How dare you? Yeah, so I got very salty. And I try to, and whenever I'm in a Twitter thing where I'm being attacked from all sides, I feel like I'm Goku. I got to counter. I got to go the full thing, even if I get knocked down, I got to get back up, damn it. There's always that second wind. But then, like, after a while, it ends up becoming kind of pointless. Because it gets to the point where it's like, okay, we're just talking in circles now. And this isn't going to be resolved. I just always find it amazing when, like, an argument about something like a TV show devolves into personal jabs. It's like, of all the like, I can see how that happens with political arguments. When it happens when you're arguing about, like, the Marvel movies, it gets, like, amazing. But I'm not innocent in regards to that, but at the same time, I try to keep it above the fray. It's when they start insulting me, like, personally, and start accusing me of shit. That's when I drop my restraints. Where the hell is Lola?
I don't know.
Lola, if you're out there, you've missed quite a few Fuseboxx engaged. Fuseboxx Engaged ''S. And I need you to guide me. You're basically my free therapist, so there we go. Where the hell are you, wise guys? Where are you right now? I'm slowly losing my mind, Rosetta.
No, you lost it long ago.
It's starting to go crazy. I think it is about that time. Because I am going to ramble more if I keep going. So, ladies and gentlemen, Let me pull this shit up right now. It's time for me to be shameless. I know I've been shameless the whole stream, but this is a different kind of shameless. Sometimes things just come out of my mouth. All right. Okay. Ladies and gentlemen, if you have not already, get on the Outlaw Knights Genesis of a Renegade Part 2 email list. We are going to be launching on Halloween night. I'm going to say around 11 p.m. Central. And so far, we are up to 115 signups, which is freaking awesome. But you know what? I could always use more. So click on the link in the description of this here video. Get on that email list. You will be glad that you did, because you're going to get access to exclusive perks, including a buy 2 for the price of 1 perk, which is going to be very limited. So you're going to want to be on the email list. You're going to be one of the first folks to get that email, because, you know, it's not going to last. It's going to get eaten up real quick. So, yeah, sign up. It is going to be good stuff. Rosetta, where can we find you other than the Captain America Twitter thread?
I'll just look for Rose M Queen 1 over on Twitter. Look through the Twitter feed. It has my Twitch and my YouTube on the bio, and in the comments below you have the link to my new poetry site, so you can get to that.
Hell yeah. And as always, I am Ben, aka the Fuseboxx. You can find me on Twitter at Knights Outlaw. You can also find me on Instagram at Outlaw Knights. You can find me now on Facebook under my real name, Ben Fuselier, Fuselier. And you can always find me here on Fuseboxx Engaged. We do our stream every Thursday at 10 p.m. Central, and I do hold special streams. And don't worry, I always put out plenty of advertisements when I do. And I should probably also mention, I've also got Fuseboxx Engaged on Odyssey, and I've got it on Rumble now. So if you want to watch those ways, by all means, check it out. As always, thank you so much for joining us, ladies and gentlemen. Oh, if you like anything we had to say, go ahead and hit the like button. Go ahead and hit the subscribe button. Be sure to hit the bell for notifications. If you didn't like anything I had to say, go ahead and hit the dislike button. I don't get to see it because Twitter wants to protect me. Twitter is like a beautiful, wonderful amniotic sac protecting us from negativity. So, thank you so much for joining us, everybody, and I will talk to you all later.